Well, hello there, guys, and welcome back to my lair. Tonight, I'm going to do a little bit of a deep dive on how I pot up my seedlings, as well as the humble mum. My grandmother introduced these to me when I was a kid, and they're said to have insect repellent qualities. I haven't really found a whole lot of conclusive information on that, but what I did find out is that these things are actually edible. They make tea out of this in Japan, and the mum itself is actually on the crest of the emperor. That's kind of wicked cool. That's all right. These particular mums are Robinson Reds. I'm pretty sure that they are hardy in zones 4 through 9 off the top of my head. There's going to be more information in the description below for the mums themselves. But I guess without further ado, I guess I'm just going to kind of dig into this, and we're just going to have just a good old time. Now, this is a 72 cell tray, and for my intents and purposes for these mums, works pretty good. A lot of people don't like being able to get them apart, but you can't rush this stuff, guys. We're dealing with a life here, and if we crush the root systems of these things, we're going to mess them up pretty bad. And one thing that I like to do is take my handy dandy name tags here, and they do a really good job of actually scooping these things out. Alright. And I've got a little bit of potting soil down here in the bottom, not much, it's just not even a handful. And I've got my spritzer here, and what I'm going to do is give it a nice little spray. That reminds me of my aunt's Pomeranian. More about that later, maybe. And then we're going to get this old potting soil, not necessarily old, but the stuff that it's been in, and we want to separate this kind of away from the root ball. And what that's going to do is it's going to grant this plant earlier access to some nutrients that it may be deficient in currently. This is some just basic potting mix that I bought at Menards, of all places, and I tried a few different things this year, and I'm not crazy about some. I like others. Maybe we'll do a deep dive into nothing but potting soil soon, but the reality of the matter is I am going to be building my own. It's cheaper. I think it's better to actually know what's in it. And yeah, far out, man. Now you're probably asking yourself what I'm seeing and why I had the potting soil in the bottom of this thing in the first place. Well, when I get my seedlings worked apart, what I like to do when I have multiple in one cell that I want to actually pot up, then I just lay them on top of this little dirt sponge that I made, and what that does is it helps me keep the seedlings viable for an extra, well, just an extended period of time. I wouldn't leave them laying like this for more than about 20 minutes unless I put maybe a damp paper towel over the roots. But what this is going to do is reduce shock. And within my handy dandy little Dollar General special cups here, what I had done earlier without really telling you guys is I take a Sharpie, and this is my favorite word right now, and I dibble the plug. And so that's literally all I did, was just put a little hole in it. And now we will grab another seedling. And as you can see, the root system on this thing, excuse me, is actually really extensive already. When I worked it apart, and you see we've got some little volunteer ones coming up here that didn't germinate as fast as all the other ones, and I'm going to go ahead and pull him out because I don't want to crowd that. But anyway, the root systems on these things are just, I mean, it's a perennial flower. It's taken off. That's what this thing does, is it sets on roots. So we've made our little hole here, and honestly, it's not big enough, so I take my thumb, and I dibble it harder. Yes, this is, I don't know why. Dibble gets me excited, all right? It's a good word. It's one of my favorite things that I've learned about horticulture probably ever, and this is going to be a running joke forever. Okay, but anyway, so now we want to plant this with the soil level. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to work around and actually press the soil back in and give it a nice deep little push. And kind of firm everything up a little bit. And I'm sorry that I don't have good camera equipment here to really regale you guys with a high quality picture, but you know, we make do. But yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and set this off into the next tray and get moving on this. Okay guys, well, to cap this all off, I'm going to explain to you a little more in detail the transplanting process and why we have to do this at soil level for mums, and it has everything to do with this species that it is. Now with our nightshades, we do want to plant those deep, and that's because they have what are called trichomes. Okay, those are little hairs on the stem that we're all familiar with. And what they do, and you notice I have to sit here and read this now, they offer what's called totipotency. And what that is basically a cell's ability to replicate itself into an entirely new plant, which is way above the heads of, I guess, some of the listeners here today, but I thought that was kind of crucial information because just because, for example, okay, this mum off the top of my head belongs to the daisy family. Now, just because it's in a different family than our peppers and our tomatoes, which are nightshades, that doesn't necessarily mean we can't take advantage of some of those things. And I've noticed on the celosia that I have that I think it grows trichomes, and so I planted a bunch of it deep, and it's already doing really well, and I think I'm really onto something with my celosia. And in the end, guys, this is what's cool about horticulture to me, is I get to learn something new every day when I do this, and as you can see, it's just, I am in my element. I love this, and I'm hoping that my efforts here are going to help you become a better gardener, because our future is our own, you know, and I think with recent, I guess, events, it's time that some of us take a step back and just appreciate some of these finer things, you know? Get away from the hustle and bustle, that concrete jungle, all that stuff. And just play in the dirt for a little bit. That's what this is all about in the end. Okay? Well, anywho, before I start rambling, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe if you would. And one more thing, I would actually like for you to comment, because like I said, I learn something new about this just about every day. And the easiest way for me to learn is actually to talk to other people about it. So I would love to hear what you guys have to say. And thank you.